Here we have our players, and as you can see, Baptiste is the duelist that is piloting the Floowandereeze deck, and António, on the other hand, is having the popular Tearlaments deck.
So I think António won the dice roll, and he is running a really good Tearlaments list with triple Agido and triple Callback. So if he is able to activate those effects, because by now you most of the time know the deck that your opponent is playing, he can generate so much advantage by starting.
Yeah, in top 8 there are almost no secrets anymore. You pretty much know what the other duelists are on, so you cannot catch anybody off guard anymore. So let's see how this is developing, because a really big factor, of course, could be Dimension Shifter here as well. So we are searching for Chiron, and as soon as Chiron will get activated, that would be the optimal timing to go for the Shifter. But I don't know, Baptiste, either he's a really good actor or he doesn't look like he has Shifter, but there it is! Dimension Shifter in response to Chiron.
Chiron now really has to think what to discard. We could have Agido, we could have Callback. Both of those would not trigger because they will be banished because of Dimension Shifter's effect.
Yeah, but I love that. Baptiste really is a good actor in that case. And that is a really good thing to have as a successful Yu-Gi-Oh player, because you never want to give your opponent the information whether you are having a good hand, whether you have the out to their stuff, or whether you open Dimension Shifter in that case.
Yeah, he's not showing any emotion here. And Chiron is sitting on the field, passing the turn.
And it's only Chiron. Normally, you try to get into Baguska at least versus this, but there is not even another level 4 monster, and therefore it's only Chiron pass going back over to Baptiste, who has the field spell. The map is ready to activate its effect.
Map did not even activate, he is just normal summoning. Oh yeah, he showed it, and then normal summoned the Robina immediately. So Eglin banished, Robina normal summoned, Eglin added to the hand, and we are more than likely going to see a barrier statue of the Stormwinds right here, the major win condition for Floowandereeze.
What a fantastic start here for Baptiste. This is looking great. He is one of the French players left in competition, so he really wants to take it down for the French community here in their home country. We're searching for Empen now, the only bird that cannot fly, as we found out earlier, because it's a penguin, but it's still hitting the field here in that moment.
So Empen is summoned, and Robina can, of course, chain block it as well. The Eglin cannot be activated. It was added already from the banished pile to the hand. So we are going to have Robina as a resource for next turn. And
ooh, there comes Magnamut in response to the effect of Empen. And I do understand why, because the next summon that would have happened would have probably been the barrier statue, and then you cannot summon the Magnamut anymore. So heads up play there by António to get that Magnamut onto the field.
This one is really important because at some point it could attack over the barrier statue. So could Chiron, but now it's easier to have 2 monsters on board. Also, it is in defense position, so it can immediately activate.
Yeah, absolutely. So there is barrier statue coming down, and now we have the time that we can activate Magnamut. Yep, that got confirmed. We will be searching another dragon in the end phase. So how much more does Baptiste have? Ooh, he's getting rid of the Empen with the quick spell. So even before we go into the battle phase, we are just searching for another monster here. And I'm quite surprised by that, because Empen usually is the monster with the highest attack you could have. Oh, but
that is true.
We're adding Toucan, so that probably means we're just going to summon the Empen again anyways. Adding it back with Toucan and then going from there on.
Oh, yep, that is smart, summoning the Toucan, because you have only used your extra normal summon, getting back the Empen to the hand, and now we are able to tribute a monster from the opponent's side of the field as well, which brilliantly plays around the problem that I have mentioned before.
That is very strong, but one thing I have to say, what is a little bit annoying here is you still leave your opponent on Per the Rhino. There's still the also powerful field spell on the board, which can take care of your field spell. And we know that the field spell is something you really need in the grind game for the Floowandereeze deck. So I would have liked tributing the field spell as well, but it is still too much for António. Baptiste takes it down here with Dimension Shifter in 5 minutes. We have someone leading here in our top 8 match, and it is Baptiste with his Floowandereeze deck. Wow.
He is really close to the semifinals. Dimension Shifter is just such a powerful card against the Tearlaments strategy.
Yes, it is. But looking at Antonio's side deck, I gotta say, most of the players in competition were not prepared for Floowandereeze. But his side deck, honestly, features Artifact Lancea, which is actually designed to beat the Kashtira matchup here in this specific tournament, I would say, but it works wonderful well against Flowandereeze as well, and therefore it's pretty good here in that matchup as well, and it will probably come in. Then Book of Eclipse, also pretty good to just book Ampen, to book Barrier, etc. and so on, so I like that too. And then Dark Ruler Moor is also quite nice, even though he is of course going first here. I do believe he still has to bring in all those cards, because you just got to get rid of the Bestials you have in your main deck.
You want to get rid of them, and Floowandereeze is not a deck that OTKs you immediately, so you will be able to make use of that Dark Ruler no more on your third turn, or your fourth turn, or your second turn even.
Yeah, indeed. And also, he is playing the one-off Called by the Grave in the side deck. And I mean, he would have liked to have that in his opening hand here in game 1 for the Shifter, because that would have made him a lot less problems. He would have probably been able to just freely combo off, but the Shifter denied his entire turn, only passing on a singular Shiren.
It is going to be interesting to see if Baptiste has another Shifter in game 2 without an answer on the opposing side. So both players seem to be shuffled up, so let's just hop right into the game. Okay, quick decision to shuffle the deck again.
But also, I was talking about the one-off Called by the Grave. Another one-off option in your deck to deny Shifter, of course, is the Herald of Orange Light. Also a pretty good one-off to draw in your opening hand when you are playing versus a Dimension Shifter deck. But that all is to be seen. The opening 5 will be drawn momentarily, and I'm really, really excited to see them.
It is going to all come down to this for António. He really needs to win this one. Baptiste is in a comfortable spot, leading, knowing I can start off the third game anyways if I want to set up a statue and maybe win the game off of that. But now he can just play freely and with a little more risk.
Nice. We see another fist bump before game number 2, and now we are watching, and I think I saw another Dimension Shift, and also another really cool side deck option in the deck of Baptiste is the Neko Mana King. He's siding triple Neko Mana King. So you were earlier on saying, hey, let's just freely mill our opponent, and I am afraid that's what we're going to see. So somehow there might be the chance of a milled Neko Mana König. So that would be pretty wild, because in case you don't know what Neko Mana King does, when that card is sent to the graveyard by an opponent's card effect, it becomes the end phase of that turn immediately.
So we are seeing if Dimensional Shifter is activated.
I mean, okay,
yes,
then actually no cards are going to hit the graveyard anyways.
Herald of the Arclight!
Oh my god!
Discards! Guido, we are going to see a proper milled hand. Will we also see a Neko Mana King?
Oh my, there is a Neko Mana King in the pile! That is impossible! We are going to straight to end phase with this!
António is smiling, but he knows this is absolutely bad news. Neko Mana King will end the turn of António immediately before setting up anything.
Wow, this is absolute madness. The thing is, I'm not 100% sure how this chain is going to form, because the Agido still should be able to trigger, but then Chain Link 2, it will be Neko Mana King, or does Neko Mana King even activate? We are about to see how this is being handled, but there might be the chance.
It activates.
Yeah, there might be the chance that in end phase we're still able to do some fusion summoning, but we gotta see. We gotta see how this is happening. Wow, he had the answer. He had the orange light, but then he milled his opponent a Neko Mana King.
So we are going to see Salik, Shiren, and Merely activate in the end phase. So some fusion summoning is going to happen here. We can be sure about that.
Okay, there's one Ampen being gone, so that's good. Let me check. But he's on double Ampen, therefore it is not gone for forever.
That is true. Also, he can just banish it with Stree and then add it back with Tuka. But that requires a lot of setup.
Yeah, for sure. You got to get there first. But I mean, I talked about it. António has sided in quite a few powerful cards. Just Lancea can deny the opponent's turn entirely, and therefore it is not even safe that this end phase here is going to save Baptiste. There are still a couple of opportunities he has.
That is correct. Oh, it looks like Tearlaments Kashtira is going to be chained from hand as well. This is
I believe we are searching with Salik.
Oh,
yeah,
no, okay.
We are searching it out with Salik first
it's
of all.
going to be used after that then.
or on the opponent's turn. Like he can also hold it there. But yeah, we are fusion summoning with Shire, and as you said, that name was hit, so we are securing one fusion summon at least. And honestly, I'm surprised that Baptiste brought the Necomanic King, because at the beginning, when that card, when Tearlaments got more popular, people were considering this card. But it never really got super popular, because people were afraid that the Tearlaments deck will still play on in the end phase, which António is doing now. But still, he cannot set any more back row. There will be no Salik, no Crime. He cannot set Book of Eclipse anymore or stuff like that.
Also,
so definitely it's quite good.
If you normal summon on your turn into a Scream, and the Scream mills 3 cards, and it mills a Kalbeck or an Agido, and it mills the Necomanic King from you, it's going to end your turn.
That's true, you're right. So that's why you should probably hold the Tearlaments Kashtira for the opponent's turn, because that is a pretty smart thing to do there. Okay. Oh, we are going for Dragostapelia. For a second I thought, hey, obvious Rule Colors coming in, but Rule Colors is not doing anything versus the Flowandereeze deck, and therefore we summon Predator Plant, Dragostapelia, and rightfully so, António decides to summon it in defense position to play around Empen, of course.
So we are keeping the Tearlaments Kashtira, trying to maybe...
Oh boy, and we have access to the field spell as well. Terraforming into the map.
You can also, with Tearlaments Kashtira, just try to mill your opponent.
Yeah, of course.
Immediately, so you don't have to rely on hitting a Kalbeck, which would advance your game state as well. So I guess also yourself hitting a name is quite good.
I do agree. So both players checking the graveyard there real quick. Of course, António has to know which resources, which Flowandereeze monsters are already out. There comes the duality. What are we finding? Okay, I mean, Dark Ruler is not too bad to play around the interruption of Dragostapelia, I gotta say.
That is true. On Resolve, what you can do is activate the Caldo from your field, because I don't know if he has one in the graveyard. Probably has one that shuffles. You can shuffle back all your Agidos and Kalbecks and then try to hit with the Kalbeck, with the Tearlaments Kashtira.
Yeah, true. That could be something. But doesn't look like António wants to do that. And Baptiste has all the cards for consistency that he needs. He started off with Terraforming, going into Duality, and now Pot of Prosperity is also there to help him out finding more cards. What a strong opening hand he had there.
With those hands, Baptiste might as well win this entire tournament, which would finally be a win for Floowandereeze.
Oh, was that 6 cards even? I think he found the card he wanted in the first 5 cards already. But he definitely decided to take one of his Flowandereeze monsters, so he can finally start playing with the magnificent map and the monster he just added.
He just wanted to have this map, and he gets it. Map activated. Now will probably activate the effect, show his opponent a Floowandereeze card from his hand.
But we haven't even used the Dark Ruler no more yet, right?
That is correct.
Which is kind of confusing. But I mean, we haven't summoned the monster yet, so we're still fine. We didn't need to do it just yet.
I mean, what's going to happen? You can also keep the Dark Ruler no more for something else that is supposed to maybe come out.
I guess, because we know there's still Tearlaments Kashtira in the hand, so that could result in more fusion summons. Yeah.
You can also use your shuffler you can also chain a shuffler to send back the Necomanic King to the deck to increase your chances of hitting that one as well. There is so much on the line here. So we are banishing Merly. The Tearlaments Kashtira is going to be summoned. Now let's see if there is any shuffling going on. Are we trying to increase our odds to end this turn of Baptiste?
So we did announce the effect of Tearlaments Kashtira, and also we are going to use Keldo.
Oh, we are going to shuffle back Kalbeck.
Oh yeah, we just want to mill as many as possible.
But he did not shuffle back the Necomanic King of his opponent, which would also be really important.
Yeah, I mean, probably he's just trying to summon out. On the other end, why would you try to summon out that many bodies here? Like, hitting fusion effects here is not as good when you know that your opponent actually has Dark Ruler no more in hand, of course.
He is really trying to go for ending this
that's
turn right here.
Hafnes, and Chiron! The holy trinity, all of them together! We can fusion summon twice now if we like to.
So the first turn of him was ended immediately, but this turn is going to take a while. We have Merly, we have Hafnes, we have Chiron in the graveyard now, and let this fusion party begin.
I don't even know if he has the gas to fusion summon twice there. I don't know even if he wants to announce all of those effects, to be honest. But we are about to see. He's thinking about it himself. So, it's only going to be Merly. He's only announcing the effect of Merly there. So probably going to end up being a Kid Colors here, if I would have to guess.
Yeah, I mean, Kid Colors is a good card, no?
For sure it is.
So what can you do with it? You can summon out a Garura. You don't really want to set up anything big because your opponent is very likely to just Dark Ruler your field anyway, so having the resources.
I think something I really like here is just going into Hafnes maybe, because Hafnes gives you another form of interruption after the Dark Ruler no more resolved, so that's probably something I like. The problem is if your opponent rather quickly gets into the barrier statue, you might not be able to resolve Hafnes anyways, and that could be a problem. So you might as well just search for Salik so you have it in the grind game versus the barrier statue. There are a couple of routes you could go here for sure.
Anthony thought this was his turn.
Nope. So, okay, we're sending Rhino Heart, so I think we are trying to go for a Kaleido Heart route here.
Oh yeah, of course, then you can summon out the Kaleido Heart to shuffle back the map before you even get to Dark Ruler here.
Yeah, so I honestly couldn't really tell which Flowandereeze monster he added there with Pot of Prosperity. So if it was Robina, I think he's still going to be fine. Yeah. But if it wasn't Robina, then it could be problematic here, but the map is probably going to go and leave the field.
But you have to break the board as well, Basti. I mean, the last turn we had to banish our own Empen just to get it back at some point and take out one more monster to destroy another monster by battle. Like, there are 5 monsters on the field.
6 now even.
6?
Yep. The Kaleido Heart comes down in the extra monster zone, shuffling back the map, and it looked so great for Baptiste. It looked so amazing with that Necromana King. There, of course, comes the Dark Ruler, we knew that. And it was Robina. Robina was the card in hand, so we can still do quite a bit of things here.
Robina searches Eglin. Eglin is going to search the Empen, and Empen is not even going to summon out another statue unless it is hard drawn in Baptiste's hand. So it is not looking that good for him, because how is he going to out this entire board?
I mean, does he need to? Yeah, of course he needs to, because next turn, I mean, we got to focus on the Dracostapelia, if you ask me, because Dracostapelia is the only thing that can get our Empen off the board next turn realistically, because everything that wants to attack over it is just going to get met with the effect of Empen.
Kid Colors will just activate the effect, tribute itself, and then Kaleido Heart is going to shuffle back the Empen.
Ooh, that's quite decent, not gonna lie. I like that. So there are actually a couple of ways for António to still win this, even though he got Necromana King here in top 8, which is probably not what he wanted to heal when he started that featured match.
Even though it is going to be hard for António to get a target into the grave for, or of course, Kid Colors doesn't target the monster in the grave, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, we gotta reborn something. Maybe you have something in hand though, who knows?
I mean, you can go for a Redoer and then banish the Redoer immediately so you have the Rhino Heart.
That's true, yeah, that works for sure. If you're even playing Redoer, let me check, because some players have decided to cut the Redoer from their extra deck.
Abyss Dweller works just as fine.
True, Abyss Dweller does work as well. And yeah, actually he is not even playing the Redoer anymore.
And but now we have solved this issue.
Terraforming, of course. So we are going to get Pearl the Rhino here, and we still have Shuffler. We have the Shuffler on board. So this is perfect. We can just out the Empen as easy as 1, 2, 3.
So we can just search out for a Merly or another Rhino Heart or anything with the Pearl Rhino activated and special summon this out with the Kid Colors.
Absolutely. So this is a really, really, really good top deck for António, because if he would have had that Terraforming last turn, I mean, maybe he couldn't activate it, because there was the Necromana King immediately and he was forced to go into end phase.
Yeah. I mean, now he's not going to activate a Kalbeck or an Agido anymore.
No, probably not. Now that he has seen the good old Nico King, but also, honestly, I kind of like running Nico King because now for game 3, António is just not going to use all of his mill effects, even though he's playing versus a deck that you usually would want to do that against. So, Perla Rhino. Oh, okay.
Calback Crime that can add back the Merly that was previously banished off of Kashtira Tearlaments. So we have another card in hand. The Kashtira Tearlaments is also sent to the graveyard, so you can mill another 2. Merly can trigger. We are having so much right now.
Yeah, and I'm curious about the card that Baptiste there has in his back row, because he believes that it's still good enough to save him here from this impressive board that António put up.
And we will see what it is soon enough, because Perla Rhino is on the field. The Primeval Planet Perla Rhino is going to just pop the last card after 1 fusion summon was performed, and 2 Tearlament cards are going to be sent.
I mean, probably it's the card that was searched with Empen, right? So I would assume it's probably the Flowandereeze trap. And then you got to ask yourself, are you even trying to destroy that with Perla Rhino? Because honestly speaking, I might as well just wait with it and try to go after the monster that is being summoned out with it.
That is also a possibility. I think at this point, António is just actually really fine here.
Okay, there comes Shiren now. We are still not done fusion summoning, apparently. We are using the Rhino Heart from the field. Was it? I think it was summoned by its own effect. I think it was.
That one was summoned by Kid Kalos.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, yeah, still, there's still another Rhino Heart on the board, so it was that one that was summoned off its own effect.
And now the Merly is added to the hand. I think that was still the same chain link, even though if we would have forgotten it earlier, it's no problem. Game state hasn't changed, so this wouldn't impact the game. So we are seeing Heartbeat in the GY as well, so I think that he's going to be able to add back a Crime or something. Now we are going to see a normal summon on Baptiste's side.
There is the card we were talking about. That was indeed the Flowandereeze card, the Flowandereeze and the Dreaming Town. And it's being chained. We try to normal the Eglin. There is no way to chain block Eglin even here, so we could answer that with Hafnis if we would have space. If we would have space on the board to actually summon out something here.
So we also have a Robina in hand, which means that if we are going to summon out an Empen, if there is still one in the deck, but I mean, you just need a Winged Beast monster that is tributed. You can put all the monsters on the field face down.
And I mean, there is one in the deck because we just shuffled it back with Kaleido Heart. Therefore, that definitely is one. But we also just searched Crime there for António, so I think even if it is not ending this turn, António has a perfect setup here.
Yeah, and he can also always just flip up those monsters that he wants to have on the field, except for the Kid Kalos. And I mean, basically, he can flip up the Tearlaments Kashtira and the Kaleido Heart.
There comes Robina. We're also trying to trigger the Merly. Of course, Robina is going to be chain link too. And what is that going to be? Is that just going to be a barrier statue here? Might as well, right? It is definitely a wind monster. That's what I can tell.
He was searching for Stree.
Stree is also not too bad. Okay, but first of all, it's going to be Empen.
And now this one resolves. I think that we are going to see a possible Dragostapelia. You can always fusion summon from the field away as well, so you might as well take the Kid Kalos and stop the Empen from activating.
So this is still the previous chain resolving, but on the next chain, Baptiste, you gotta pay attention because you don't want to miss out on activating the graveyard effect of Flowandereeze and the Dreaming Town here. I think if you're not doing it here, you're not going to do it at all this game, so it definitely is the time to do it.
I think there was a point in which António could have gone for Dweller. And
okay, yeah, and the Dreaming Town as well. Yep, he is not missing it. He's trying to book the board there. And I mean, there's another card he's just booking now because that Dragostapelia just hit the board and he cannot flip this up anymore this turn.
He can flip up the Kaleido Heart if he does not forget about it.
I don't think he can, right?
This was summoned in the end phase of the last turn.
Was it? Okay. But no. Was it really?
I think so.
Okay, I mean...
He shuffled back the map with it.
Yeah, but that
this turn, he shuffled the Empen.
Yeah, so it was summoned twice already.
It wasn't summoned twice, it was always in the extra monster zone.
Oh, true, yeah, otherwise it would not be in the extra monster zone anymore. Yeah, you're right, absolutely. You are 100% correct about that. So Empen now has a counter on it, but that's not going to negate it because Vidrecostopelia is not phase up on the field anymore.
What's this book card again, Book of Tayu? That would be really useful here.
Yeah, of course. He just brought that in all of a sudden.
I mean, if we're playing almost all the books in this tournament, we can also bring Tayu.
I guess. True, the book cards have become really popular again. And that's why I thought that Floowandereeze will have a hard time this tournament, because everybody brings the book cards for Kashtira, and the book cards, especially Book of Eclipse, is so good to just book the Empen and book the barrier statue, but still Baptiste sits here being up 1 game in top 8 of this tournament.
So Tearlaments Kashtira is flipped, and this card can only mill on normal or special summon, not on flip summon.
Yeah, so there is Kaleido Heart being flipped up as well. But honestly, I think... Did we still have shufflers in the graveyard? Because he went to destroy the set trap, and we knew it was that trap. So why didn't we wait for a moment where we could actually pop one of the monsters that is resulting in it? And look, Baptiste is getting another turn here. There is no way António could deal with that Empen on board, and therefore it is going back over to him. And we know that Baptiste has the barrier statue in hand, so he could prevent further special summoning very quickly here. Yep. First of all, we're starting it off with the unexplored Windsbow. All of a sudden, I think Baptiste might get back into this game here.
There must have been a way for him to use a shuffler on the trap card.
Yeah.
At some point.
That's what I'm thinking. There must have been another way. Oh, we're using Crime on the unexplored winds immediately.
And the Merly discard, of which we knew that he had. So Merly can now immediately trigger. We can go for another fusion summon, and Pearl Rhino is still on board.
Oh yeah, true. We are getting rid of that Empen there.
What fusion monsters do we still have in our extra deck? We can summon Rule Colors, which is a big monster.
Yup. 3,500 when you have Pearl Rhino on board, so it's not too bad, you're right.
But we are taking Tearlaments Kashtira.
So that's, yeah, first of all, just kit colors. Of course, there is, again, kit colors in our extra deck, so you might as well just go that.
People are running too. I forgot about that.
Yeah. And also, I mean, you need to use it for the Rule Colors too, so first things first, starting it off with the kit colors, destroying the Empen as we thought with the effect of Primeval Planet Pearl Rhino.
Isn't there a kit colors already set on the field, or was that Garura?
That's Garura. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, it's Garura.
I'm pretty sure. Under one of those beautiful 6 samurai sleeves, there is a Garura waiting.
After this first 5-minute game 1, I was thinking that we were in for a quick one, but this game is really intense.
Absolutely not. And still, I see Baptiste having a shot here. I mean, he has Barrier Statue, and as soon as he summons Barrier Statue, there's a problem for António, because he can't special summon from that moment on anymore. And Baptiste can pretty much freely just perform all of his normal summoning.
And we are starting off with Robina.
Robina is going to search out...
I don't think that Barrier Statue is an option anymore, so we are going to see an Eglin, and we might see a Ryza to break a board.
Oh yeah, Ryza is pretty strong in breaking boards, and there he is! Ryza, the Mega Monarch, coming down here, being added to the hand first of all, but I'm pretty sure it's also going to hit the field here in this turn. Yeah, immediately it's going to. We are tributing both of our monsters, and now let's see what we are targeting with it, because we are not only breaking the board, but we're also probably going to give our opponent a top deck, but he cannot choose anymore. He's going to be forced to draw the card we are giving him here. So Kaleido Heart is one card he would like to put back to the extra deck. What's the other one?
And we are also checking our opponent's graveyard.
I mean, yeah, we can go for something from the graveyard too. Absolutely. I don't think we want our opponent to top deck Instant Fusion, to be honest.
Oh, I think we want him to top deck the Orange Light, right?
Yeah, that seems like a pretty decent one.
You can also always put one card from your graveyard to the top of your deck as well. Ooh. So he takes the Empen, he wants to have the follow-up, which also makes sense.
Okay, so Kit Colors and Kaleido Heart go back to the extra deck, and the Empen goes to the top of our own deck. And now there's already one monster with quite a bit of attack points on board, being the Ryza, but something that is kind of problematic is that even Tearlaments Kashtira is being boosted by the Pearl Rhino, and therefore is quite big. We can run over the Dracostapelia, though. Oh, set one card, and that's going to be the end of our turn. It's going back over to António, who now again has quite a few options.
I'm wondering what the set card now is, because you can always flip up the Rhino Heart and the Kid Kalos. And, oh no, it's Garura. But still, with Garura, you have a lot of plays.
Yeah, that's true. Also, I just realized António still had 2 cards in hand, and one of them is Mudora. Therefore, giving your opponent the top deck of Orange Light probably would have not been the way. But look, we are using Merly, hitting Salik, and he's not even triggering the Kelbeck, being aware that there's the Neko Mana King in the deck. And therefore, we are only going to search out another monster here with Salik. And that, to me, very much looks like a Shiren, yep.
I think we also have the Pearl Rhino on board. This is looking really, really good. I want to know what the set card from the Baptiste is.
Yeah, it cannot be the Unexplored Winds. Or no, it cannot be the Dreaming Town anymore because it's only a one-off in the deck, of course.
Infinite Impermanence is an option here for him as well. This could possibly be Imp. And does Imp do much? Does it help him at all?
I don't really think Impermanence is going to stop him here realistically, because there's nothing you really want to hit on the field anymore. So, let me check. There's so much attack points on the board already. Garura dealing double effect damage, or double battle damage rather, so there's quite a bit to do here. And we're starting things off with the Mudora and the Graveyard, which would enable our Parallel Rhino to destroy 1 card on the field. And do we go after the Razor, or do we just go after the back row here?
So we are, of course, recycling the Dracostapelia as well. This is such a crucial card in this matchup. You can try to pop the Razor and just attack for a game. This is an option here, because all of those monsters are boosted by Parallel Rhino.
Yeah, and I mean, what is that set card supposed to be? Oh, we're going after the set card though, and it was
a
bluff Dark Ruler no more. That's not going to do anything. And I mean, with the boost effect of Pearl Rhino, we are able to run over the Razor here. Oh no, we're actually going to crash into it, but it is still a lot of damage there. Garura is 4,000 damage.
This is game. Yeah, this is definitely game. 1-3, 2,000, 2,300 and 4,000 damage by Garura, because the damage inflicted is in fact doubled. And we are packing up. This was a really intense game too, and we are having a tie now.
All right, António taking down game number 2 here for Portugal. So another game will be played, because now the score, as you said, is equal.
1-1.
And yeah, I don't know. Floowandereeze looked strong there. Like, it wasn't a completely dominated game by the Tearlaments deck, but still we saw why that deck is so powerful and so popular. Because, let's be honest, like, the amount of fusion summons that was performed over the course of this game was insane. I mean, did you count? I honestly lost count, because I think it was more than 10 fusion summons altogether.
I mean, he actually just lost his first turn.
Yeah, true.
It was immediately put to the end phase, and in the opposing turn, he just developed so many resources, and that was one problem that we could spot with the Floowandereeze deck. If your opponent has 6 monsters on the field with relatively high attack stat or defense stat, how do you out it? Yeah,
you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of a control deck from back in the day that you used to play and loved to play. It is comparable to the Altergeist situation back in the day that you encountered multiple times. But just big attack position monsters are an issue for the deck, because you cannot just out them, because all your birds are quite small.
That is true. Also, Trickster had this problem, so I seem to love these decks. Maybe I should try Floowandereeze.
Probably, yeah. It seems like a fitting deck for you, gotta be honest with you. But yeah, this is going to be super, super intense, because now Baptiste, of course, can bring in his super powerful going first cards. I'm already seeing Harpy's Featherstorm. And you know what? He's bringing in a card that wasn't super popular lately as well. He's citing an anti-spell Fragrance. So that could mean no Pearl Rhino this game, or at least not in the first turn. Yeah. So I do believe this is certainly coming in there, for sure.
You could easily tribute it away if you set up your continuous spell card first. So that is an option to keep in mind if you have the anti-spell Fragrance. This is such a powerful card. Basically, the only problem with this, and why this card is not that popular in this format,
go ahead,
is Book of Eclipse. It is a quick spell.
Oh yeah, true. We can just chain the Book of Eclipse.
Yeah, and you still Book of Eclipse. So Ampen and the Barrier Statue of Stormwind will still be face down.
Yeah, you're right. It could definitely be what's happening here, because Book of Eclipse is in the side deck of António, so that absolutely could be the case. And another card I talked about earlier on, is also a card that might influence the outcome of this game 3 here massively, because Artifact Lancea, when António would be able to pick that up in his opening 5, could be an absolute blowout card versus the Floowandereeze deck.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you can still tribute summon all of your monsters, but they're not going to be banished anymore, and therefore the resource game is damaged heavily, and you're not able to just add all of your monsters back step by step, and they're going to stay in the graveyard rather, which is not good, because that's not where the birds belong.
Also, it is an answer to Shifter.
Indeed it is, yeah.
Which would be really good, so you can still play with cards like Harvest, and it stops the map as well.
But let's see, we did a lot of theorizing, but now the action is about to start. Players are ready, we are as well. I hope the crowd and the viewers at home are too. So game number 3 of this top 8 match is about to start. Let's get in the action. So, players are informed that they can start here. Okay, I mean, oh no, there's first of all a little bit of a talk with the judge, but it's probably going to be fine. António just wanted to have another sip of his water, which is understandable in that situation.
Stay hydrated in those tournaments, because otherwise you can't concentrate.
Indeed, and also all the lighting going towards the players here in our featured match area is, of course, an additional thing which make you thirsty, I can tell you that. Okay, but so first of all, I believe there is going to be a little bit of a break here, because there is a little bit of a question. The judges have to double check, so nothing too crucial, and it's our task to talk a little bit here. So what do you expect? Do you think Baptiste is heavily favored here in this situation by going first with his also powerful Floowandereeze deck, or do you think it is a really good shot for António here going second? Or what do you think, what are the cards that are deciding this game here?
I mean, with Floowandereeze, especially if you cite the anti-spell fragrance, it's really a matter of what cards can Baptiste draw. If he has the Book of Eclipse, then and a lot of monsters in hand as well, or the Lancea, then basically the board is outed easily. If you have, imagine Lancea together with Book of Eclipse.
That would be insane, honestly.
Against an anti-spell barrier statue shifter start. And you have Shiren plus a name or something, because you don't really want to have Agido and Kalbak activated.
The problem
it could be happening, because sometimes you have to.
Yeah, but like Lancea is cool, and I mean you can resolve halfness and so on, but it's not going to help you playing on your own turn, because then Shifter is going to be active again. Therefore, you can't really progress and advance the game state, and I'm afraid that Lancea is hindering the grind game of the Floowandereeze deck, but it's not really making António progress an awful lot, to be honest.
That is true, but I mean, in combination with some other cards, it is going to help.
Yeah.
So if you have the Lancea and you are able to drop a halfness, because if you drop Lancea, map is not going to resolve, so there will not be a chain block.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's actually true. It's pretty good versus map. I didn't even think about that.
So you hit a name, and you get into your Dragostapelia.
Yeah.
And then if there is not adventure, because it can't be activated because you have to banish something.
True.
Then you can basically stop the entire
1v1. Yeah, it's just an even battle then, because the Dragostapelia, whatever monster you're summoning, can negate that. So that's definitely how I can see this going down. So one more thing we can talk about, and we already did talk about that in our format discussion about the upcoming format, because right now it's Sunday and we're about to have our semi-finals of the YCS Lyon still being in the top 8 here. But from tomorrow on, there's of course also going to be the update of the Forbidden and Limited list, and both of the decks that are facing off against each other here are going to be massively influenced by that, because both of the decks are actually going to lose a couple of cards, and they will have to find new weapons and new ways to play their decks. So for example, the super powerful barrier statue is not going to be a thing anymore for the Floowandereeze deck, and the Kit Colors that was summoned I think 5, 6, 7 times in the second game is also not going to be there anymore.
If we count like all the times it was summoned in the featured matches, I think like 30 Kit Colossus
at least
have been thrown around in this tournament so far. But I think that the players are ready, and we can just go over right to the table. So António versus Baptiste. Baptiste is going to start friendly fist bump again, and now we are going to see if all the theory that we just did is going to come into play, or if all the ifs and whens that we just brought out.
You can analyze a game from many angles, but in the end, you gotta watch out what's happening at the playing field. And the first card he's activating is a pretty strong one. We're starting it off with Map, and we are revealing the Eglin. And at that point, we would have had to chain the Lancea already, and that's not what happened. And therefore, Baptiste is free to play here.
So now, with this combination, I think that there is a Herald of the Orange Light in the hand of António.
Ooh.
And there is the possibility that you negate the Robina.
Yeah, because you just don't want to get your opponent to the barrier statue, of course. And
exactly.
he's considering, yes,
and
we have the Orange Light plus Mudora. It would have been better to have Orange Light discarding one of the Millers, but still, you take negating the Robina there, because if there's no other but there is Pot of Prosperity. I was about to say, if there's no other Flowandereeze monster, he will not be able to summon out the Empen anymore, but there are plenty of ways to find another Flowandereeze monster here. So, of course, going for the Banish 6, because the extra deck is not what we need in our Flowandereeze deck. And let's check what he's revealing here. Oh, there's the anti-spell we talked about. There is the Happiest Featherstorm we also talked about a lot today already. So, what is the card he desires to get here?
So none of those cards really get you into playing the game right here. Pot of Duality is an option. You really need to find the Toucan, but you can also go for your game 1 play and have Harpy's Featherstorm and just wait it out for a bit.
I think quick play would have also been quite good, because you could have just banished the Empen, search out the Toucan, and Toucan adds back the Empen, so that should have definitely worked too. But I think he has a way to play on here, otherwise he would have not done that specifically. Ooh, he just decides to set the Happiest Featherstorm. He maybe was fearing that one quick play spell would just instantly lose to an Ash Blossom, and he didn't want to lose like that, and therefore he went for the safe route, grabbing him the turn skip, grabbing him the Happiest Featherstorm.
Also, as the continuous spell is on the field, if there is a normal summoned monster, Map will activate and you contribute summon the Empen right here, right now.
There it is. Merly with Chainlink 1. Chainlink 2 is going to be Happiest Featherstorm. But have we triggered our Map, is the question. No! Look, we have no way of normal summoning. There are no small birds in our hand. Baptiste only sits there with Empen in his hand, and now it's going back over to Baptiste. After going Merly and Eglin, it's back to Baptiste, and he has another Pot of Prosperity, so more ways for him to find plays. This is looking good for Baptiste. He can set up his entire board now. It doesn't matter that he couldn't do much in turn 1. He now has another chance to do so.
The only thing going for António is that there are plenty of cards in the graveyard of Baptiste, so if he draws a Shifter, he won't be having another turn skip there. Called by the Grave, also really strong, but I mean, there's Toucan. Toucan is really strong here.
Yep, we take the Toucan. Also, we saw that he's on Triple Tactics Thrust, which was very popular this whole weekend, but I didn't necessarily expect it in Flowandereeze, to be honest. But he is running it. He's here in top 8, so that apparently is the take card you have to run in Flowandereeze as well. Okay, there comes Tearlaments Kashtira.
So it is really good that we have the Merly in the graveyard from the crash against the Eglin, and we are going to see if something is being hit now. Tearlaments Kashtira is it, Agido is it, and Merly is it. This is Baptiste's turn. Agido can activate, and it might find a Necomanic King if it wasn't sided out.
That is going to be huge if we do find that. So first of all, the mill 3 is resolving. Now we're milling 5 for both. It is not a Necomanic King. Look, António was furiously looking for a Necomanic King, but there was none milled. And now we're resolving the Merly fusion effect together with the Tearlaments Kashtira.
And we also have milled a Harvest, and we have another Calbeck, so there are plenty of mills coming in here. Just play on your opponent's turn if your opponent doesn't let you play on your turn.
Yeah, it's fine.
You take my turn, I'll take yours.
I mean, that's also something that a Flowandereeze player would do, so I think it's only fair that the Tearlaments deck can also do that. So we are triggering the Hafnis that was milled here by the effect of Agido. And also, oh no, it was Calbeck, so yeah. We are now triggering another mill, I think. We're going for 5 more. Yep, we are. There are the Lanceas that he sided in, but he didn't find them in his opening hand. But I gotta say, it looks like he might still be able to come out on top here because those mills are really helping him right now. He's really getting monsters onto the board, and we saw it in the last game. When there are a lot of monsters on the side of a Tearlaments player, it is going to be rough for the Flowandereeze deck because he cannot just take apart this board so easily.
Yeah, the only thing that Baptiste right now has is that there is no access to Kaleido Heart. Rhino Heart was not milled in the process. So maybe, of course, Kid Kalos, as it was released, used as well, or it added something already, right?
Yeah, we did already add, and now we are going for the Dracostapelia.
Okay, so Dracostapelia is activated. I don't know if that helps because we have Met and the Unexplored Winds. So there will be more than one card.
Normally, yes, but I mean, last turn Baptiste just passed pretty quickly and he didn't have a whole lot of names in his hand. The good thing, though, is the names that he had last turn are going to be available this turn again, because that Eglin is just going to return to the hand, which is quite nice. And that's just the mechanic that Flowandereeze players love and use so often.
There indeed was a Rhino Heart, so I was mistaken there. Rhino Heart was put back into the deck, and now Kaleido Heart hits the field, gets rid of the map, which is so important for the deck.
That makes it so much better because now the one normal summon that you can normally do per turn is going to be met with Deep Dragostapelia that's now sitting there on the field of António.
So must be pretty nice on the opponent's turn to summon Dragostapelia, Kaleido Heart, just off of the Kashira Tearlaments. So now Toucan is being played. Baptiste says, this is my turn to play now. We are getting back Robina, we are getting back Eglin, and we are trying to figure out how to break this board.
Okay, and it resolves. There's no quick play to dodge the effect of Dragostapelia, and therefore it's not much more happening for Baptiste. Play is going back over to António, and he's only facing a Toucan on the field, which is honestly not the biggest threat to António here.
No, and you can even normal summon right now because there is no map on the field anymore. Kaleido Heart just got rid of it easily. The question is, does he have a lot of follow-up in his hand? Because the cards that he has on the field, of course, they are strong fusion monsters and Kashira Tearlaments, but Tearlaments Kashira. But this is not progressing you. This is a lot of attack points, yes, but you don't have any further plays with this.
Yeah, but the question is, do you even need that? Because Baptiste's follow-up is also heavily disrupted by the existence of Dragostapelia on the field. So, and then there are a lot of cards in hand for António. I think it was 3 or something.
That
3,
was
4.
a Rhino Heart.
And Rhino Heart is definitely something you could normal summon here and get a lot of value out of. But António really thinking this through. I think António will try to just go for game here. That is the turn that he's trying to end this game here. That is the turn. He's trying to advance into top 4, and he's starting it off with Merly, but there's another Harpy's Featherstorm.
Wow.
Okay, but still, that's a lot of damage already there.
Harpy's Featherstorm, lucky for Baptiste, there is no Pearl Rhino on the field because that would be 2,000 more damage. But we are knowing that this turn there's nothing coming out from Baptiste anymore. He has no place at all. Nothing is available to him. This is entirely Antonio's turn now.
Yeah, and I mean, look, António is calculating. António is doing the math, figuring out whether this is already game, and by the speed he took all his cards into attack position. That looks like it is game, and
it is exactly 8,000 damage, 3,000 from Kaleido Heart, 2,300 from Kashira Tearlaments, and 2,700 from Dragostapelia equals 8,000. The Merly was just enough to crash with the Toucan.
Wow, what a game. António Pereira from Portugal advancing to top 4 here of YCS Lyon with his Tearlaments deck. What an insane game. After a very quick game 1 in which Baptiste took the victory so quickly with his Dimension Shifter, it was António who came back. 1 game 2, 1 game 3 as well. The crowd loves it. António is one of our top 4 players, and he is definitely rightfully so in that spot.
People are applauding, and rightfully so. He came back so many times. This looked good for Baptiste in game 1, of course.
For sure.
Win after 5 minutes. In game 2, it looked great for him as well. Harpy's Featherstorm, such a powerful card, immediately stopping the entire turn. But you know what it doesn't do? It only stops monster effect. It does not stop attacks, and this is what cost him game 3.
That is true. Also, the Nico King, honestly, in game 2...
I thought it was over.
Yeah, exactly. That was also what I thought. It immediately brought António to his end phase, but he was like, okay, I mean, I can still resolve fusion effects in my end phase. I can still get bodies onto the board, which is pretty good, and which helped him win this game in the end. And also, of course, yeah, you are bringing a Tearlaments player to their end phase, but he's going to fusion summon on your turn anyways, and therefore it was not even that big of a problem for António. He managed to still come out on top. He is one of the 4 players remaining in this prestigious tournament here in France. He's trying to take it down for Portugal, because honestly, I cannot even remember having a YCS champion from Portugal, right?
I don't remember it either.
I cannot even recall if there was a single one, so maybe António is going to be the first one taking it down for Portugal and for the Portuguese community. I would love to see that, honestly, because it's a beautiful country, and apparently they have pretty good Yu-Gi-Oh players as well. So let's hear from our Portuguese hero, let's hear from António and Ad in the winner's interview.
And here I am with the winner of our top 8 feature match there, guys, António. Congratulations. You are now through to basically the semi-final in those top 4. How do you feel?
It feels pretty amazing. Yeah? Yep.
You're quite a calm and stoic man, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, you're not giving me a lot to work with, but we'll roll with it. So let's go through some of the game that you had. So game 1, there was a bit of a poker face from Baptiste because he threw out that shifter, and so you kind of realized you couldn't play. Were you just wanting to get into a different game where you had a better setup?
I'm sorry, what? I didn't understand.
Were you wanting to just get into the second game and then move on?
Yeah, I was hoping he bricked. He didn't, so yeah, game 2.
Straight into game 2, and then we'll talk about game 2. Again, another shifter turn 1, but you heralded that, heralded the orange light. And then there was the Necomane King. So let's talk about that, because in game 2, after you experienced that, you seemed to have a couple of moments where you were a bit scared of hitting that again. After you saw that and it put you to the end phase, were you a bit nervous about making him mill?
Well, yeah, why would I not play around it?
I can't argue with this. Why wouldn't you just play around it? And you did. You threw all the way. We'll keep going through the other plays because you're not helping me out. You are really just, you're very calm and considered. I guess you're trying to focus on the end game of this entire tournament. See, this is a guy who knows what he's doing in these top cuts. There was a couple of moments of the Dark Ruler No More. Holding off Tears with a single penguin was basically what I wrote down here. So he was really holding you off, but then just ended up going for it. You took that one. And then when it came to game 3, heralded the Rabina, the Feather Duster, or the Feather Storm, and then you passed, but you just played around that. You knew what you were doing, you kept calm, kept collected, then you took it.
Yeah, I had a way to play on his turn, so the trap didn't really do much, and he didn't really have much engine, so.
So you're very confident, you're going through. Wish you the best of luck with the semi-finals. Let's see how we do. Guys, don't go anywhere, because we're going to have a quick quiz, and then we're going to drop into that top 4 cut. Don't go anywhere.